Sure, I am Daniel Ziegler. I was the writer and director of the film, and this is Logan Fetters. He was the director of photography.
I was the director of photography.
Really great stuff, guys. Amazing work. I loved it. I'm not just saying that. I'm not just some guy. That was really good.
Thanks.
So please tell us what attracted you to tell the story, why you decided to make it.
Yeah, so it started out as a feature film that I was writing over the pandemic, and I guess I'd say I've always loved horror, but that's not true. I was kind of afraid of horror early in my life, so I grew on me, and it sort of started with the classic monster introduction to horror, and then it evolved kind of into the more 70s and then the 80s slashers, and now I just love all kinds of horror. But I wanted to make something that was kind of a love letter to all those different kinds of horror, the evolution of it, and the things that have changed over the years, the styles, and then a lot of the things that have stayed the same in terms of the storytelling and stuff like that. So,
And from a technical perspective, like how did you accomplish these different eras?
yeah, so I mean, first thing was just study a lot of films and see kind of how they framed their shots and how they did their lighting, and Logan talked a bit about that. But in particular, like silent films always had like one big wide locked off shot, so we made sure to get that. Even the way that the sound was done. Do you want to say anything about the camera work or?
Yeah, we kept in mind the different aspect ratios of different eras of films and the different types of lighting for each kind of genre. And Daniel really had ideas about what type of lighting he wanted from different movies and stuff that from the 70s and what was that one that you really liked? The really
Suspiria.
yeah, Suspiria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colorful lighting.
That was a big one that was involved in the lighting of the zombie aspect. Yeah, so it was just kind of like keeping an eye on the different genres and the aspect ratios and different types of lighting, and then keeping in mind like lighting for black and white and for the silent picture era. So,
For both of you, was your favorite era to shoot?
I liked the kind of slasher era.
Yeah.
That was my personal favorite.
My big introduction to horror was like at the black and white Universal monster movies, so I really liked doing that. That's like probably my favorite era of horror, but also the zombies I think turned out really fun. But it was also I think the hardest one to shoot because you're dealing with a lot of extras and tight spaces in that bathroom, so it was very difficult to do that one, but I'm proud of how it turned out, so that was a lot of fun too.
And you did mention the future film scripts. Are you trying to still pursue that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to it in a way. I kind of feel like I've got the story out of me, but at the same time, I think this taught me a lot of what works about the idea and what doesn't, and how we can expand certain things or maybe bring some of them back. So we'll see how it goes. It's see how it's received, but for now, I'm just really excited to have the story in some form, and I'm happy with how it turned out.
Oh, we all laughed in the right places, right?
Yeah, no, I thought the reactions were great. I was very happy you guys were all into it and reactive, and that's what we hope for, and that's why we do it. So it's I just hope you had a good time.
And as we saw in the credits, it was a family affair. So talking about your family being involved in.
Yes, I have a lot of my family here today as well. They've always been very supportive of my filmmaking. I've been doing this, seriously since early high school, and I use a lot of the same but a lot of the same crew over the years. I worked with Logan quite a few times. Same composer did the music. I've worked with him since high school, since my first feature film. So my family is always a big part of what I do, and I'm always blessed to have them there every step of the way, and also my friends and the people that keep coming back to work with me. It takes a lot of people and a lot of work to make these things happen. So
There you go. Shout out to the family over here.
yes, great things.
Those spells were unreal, weren't they?
I don't know. See, some weird things have been happening in my life.
WGB's on set.
Well, I mean, I think we were too focused and too quick to get it done. So I don't know, nothing crazy. But
That's good. Any questions from the audience? We do have time for some questions. Yes, sir.
Aside from just general stylistic choices between them, did you have any like homages to specific films that you kind of planted in there?
I mean, there were certain things that I saw recurring. I wouldn't say any one particular film, but if there was a trope or something I saw in several films of the era, I made sure to include that. Shooting through the pumpkin point of view, obviously was a big one. Michael Myers in the Halloween, that was pretty iconic through the mask, so I wanted to make sure I got that. The dummy in the black and white film, I wouldn't say that points to anything in particular, but if you watch a lot of those 30s and 40s black and white films, there was always a beautiful ragdoll dummy getting thrown over the stairs or the railing or something into the water, so I wanted to make sure to do that, and that was a lot of fun as well. So probably not that many specific ones, but definitely if I saw it recurring, it was something that I flagged to make sure to include.
Any other questions? Yes, in the back.
The pumpkin guy went through a lot of great looks through the different eras. I especially love the last one with a really happy face. Was that something that you worked with a costume designer for, or a monster designer, or just made yourself?
Right, yeah, so I had a production designer who is a comic book artist, Nick Cagnetti, independent comic book artist at Pink Lemonade, and I'm working on a comic with him as well right now. He designed the looks of the different pumpkin men, and then I had a costume designer, Carter Hoover, who helped actually bring them to life. And then the actor, LJ Gomez, really brought a lot of life and character to the pumpkin man, I guess, because on the page, he comes in, he kills, whatever, he does the things, but it can very easily just be like a go through the motions kind of thing. But he brought a lot of the fun little things that you see him do were improvised by LJ, so he was pretty amazing. And I guess just in a macro sense, the idea just to have a pumpkin-headed killer, I wanted something that was able to change shape, but also you'd be able to recognize that it's, repeating. So of course, seeing that it's a pumpkin-headed monster each time or killer, then obviously, it's the same thing. But also it's kind of inspired by the original Halloween poster with the pumpkin and the hand with the knife. When I was little, I thought that was what the movie was about. Yeah. Pumpkin-headed killer, because it kind of looks like the pumpkin head holding the knife. So that was sort of where that originally came from. Any other questions? Yes.
Were there any horror genres that you wanted to include but they didn't fit?
It's a good question, yeah. In the original feature that I was writing, there actually was one more. I cut it in the short just because I wouldn't have had enough time to do 5 different genres. It was found footage. So it was going to be very like break the fourth wall, the characters holding the camera, looking into it, saying, "Help, we're trapped in a movie." And I think there's some really fun things that came up with that. But also, in the original feature idea, I struggled to include the Pumpkin Man in that, and I wanted to make sure he was in all of them. So if it ever does get adapted into a feature, I'll probably figure out a way to add that one back in and with the Pumpkin Man. But for the short, it just had to go on the chopping block, unfortunately.
Great.
What were the four video cassettes that the female who cast the spell had in there, and were those influences of yours in the overall production?
So those were all made up. A couple of them were VHS tapes that were based on short films that I've made in the past. So I made all of those VHS originally. They're none of them are real movies. The one she holds up, the Mad Hypnotist and the Vampire's Curse, whatever, I'm actually on the cover of those. That's like my face for guys. So all completely made up. They were inspired, of course, by the different eras of the films that we included in there. But a couple of them were Easter eggs to things I've done before, and a couple of them were just things that felt stylistically right, but they were all made from scratch.
Yeah, if you guys pay attention, Daniel does a really great job at like the details in all of his movies. If you really watch and look, you'll see like little Easter eggs all over the place. It's very common with his stuff.
And I love prop making. I know the writer and director doesn't usually get into the prop aspect of it, but like those pumpkin heads, I made most of those all by myself. Like the VHS tapes, I made all those by myself. So just the the little details, the fun stuff like that helps build out the world. That's a big part of the process that I love.
For give a follow-up.
Yeah, is there a site you can go to rewatch this film? For this got a lot of reaction from the audience. I'm sure some people would like to see it again. Is there a place people can go to see it?
So not at the moment. We're doing our festival run here, and it's going to be exclusive to festivals for now. It will eventually be available somewhere online. In the meantime, you can connect with us on social media at Black Box Films, or me, I'm Daniel Ziegler, and I think all my social media is DANZIGGS, Dan Ziggs. So if you are interested, please go find us, connect with us, and we will be sure to let you know as soon as it is available anywhere online. So.
Cool, thanks.
Fantastic. Any other questions? Let's give it up for our spell.